What's going on? A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan here with you live from St. Thomas Sports Park at the Tennessee Titans practice facility for another edition of Titans at 2. Apologize for the delay today. Would have liked to go live right at 2 o'clock, but we had to wait till 2:20 because DeAndre Hopkins was getting a haircut. Yes, DeAndre Hopkins was in the Titans locker room. Media, we were waiting to get our interviews in with D-Hop on Friday after practice like we normally do, but Hopkins had a haircut scheduled, so we were waiting out his haircut in the locker room, and we had to push back the show today. So appreciate you guys for staying patient and hanging with me to discuss what you see in that title. Treylon Burks, who is surprising Mike Vrabel. I'll tell you guys about that and give you a full update on the Titans' second-year wide receiver. We will look at some other injury situations, including quarterback Will Levis and the offensive line. There's injuries to the offensive line once again. So what that might look like for Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. I got the full rundown here for a Friday Titans at 2. Do me a favor and like the show before we jump into it. And quick reminder that today's Titans at 2 and every Titans at 2 is powered by Dobert Pizza and Rotisserie. Dobert Pizza and Rotisserie located in Green Hills, where you're sure to find flavor. They're bringing you a crave-worthy menu with an unexpected yet perfect duo of pizza and rotisserie chicken. Pizza and rotisserie chicken together. Offbeat flavor combos made even more delicious when you dunk every bite into any of the house-made sauces. Dobert always delivers on flavor and satisfaction, and they're a go-to spot to get comfortable for any occasion. So go see my friends at Dobert out in Green Hills. You will not regret it. That is an absolute guarantee. So I already see some comments from people wanting to know about the Will Levis injury, people wanting to know about the Treylon Burks situation. What is going on with Treylon Burks, who has been out on the practice field for the first time since he got injured in Pittsburgh when he went down with a very, very severe head injury that has turned into a very severe concussion. I'm going to give you guys the full rundown, starting with Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks, like I said, back on the practice field. Kind of surprised to see him back on the practice field. There was really no indication that a return was imminent for Treylon. Usually when a player has a concussion and has like kind of on the way towards recovery, Mike Vrabel will tell us in Monday's press conference. We have Vrabel Monday afternoons after a game. Typically, he'll preview the upcoming week of practice and say, hey, so-and-so, hoping to get him back out there, potentially clear protocol. There really wasn't a mention of Treylon Burks this week. And so to the surprise of myself and a lot of my other media colleagues, we get out there Wednesday right here at St. Thomas Sports Park and go check out practice. And hey, Treylon Burks is out there. Number 16 is out there practicing. So that was a big, pleasant surprise for Titans fans. He was limited in Wednesday's practice, a full participant yesterday. And I do expect Treylon to be listed as a full participant in today's practice on Friday. That means he is now eligible to clear concussion protocol. Will he? That remains to be seen. Here is Mike Vrabel earlier today, just about an hour ago, when I asked him about Treylon Burks. How was Treylon's week of work?
Yeah, good. Back? Still, again, needs the final blessing, but doing well. And again, it was he hadn't been in meetings, for 3 weeks, so getting back into it. I would say pleasantly surprised just for his ability to go through those meetings and practice and. So a lot of stuff that go in there, and just glad that he was able to retain some information. So, see if he clears and what role he may have in the game, but just still waiting for that final blessing from a doctor.
So to answer the question here that we got, asking if Treylon is good, the answer is yes. And you heard Mike Vrabel say he was pleasantly surprised by the week of work for Treylon. And I think specifically referred to Treylon being away from the Titans offense and the meeting rooms for 3 weeks and the immediate impact that he was able to have. I guess jumping back into the meeting room, part of being in concussion protocol, right, is like avoiding things like film study is not really good for the brain when you're nursing a serious concussion. So 3 weeks outside of film to jump back in on the practice field, jump back into the tape and in the meeting room, And Mike Vrabel says, pleasantly surprised with Treylon's progress. So he is still awaiting the confirmation from a doctor that will officially clear him of the protocol and make him eligible to play on Sunday. But that is still very much a possibility. He is questionable for the game. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what his role is. I do get the indication, though, that the Titans are actually very optimistic about what Treylon could potentially bring to them in his return. I know Titans fans have soured on the production of Treylon Burks a little bit in recent weeks, and rightfully so, given where he was drafted, the constant injuries, and really just some underwhelming games. But offensive coordinator Tim Kelly spoke about Treylon Burks earlier this week and mentioned, that he feels like Treylon has done a very good job of winning down the field, winning on some of his deep routes. And so when you look at the Titans offense right now, sure, Will Levis has been more productive than Ryan Tannehill has been. Sure, DeAndre Hopkins is a good weapon. They really haven't gotten a ton of separation as receiving core. And I do think that has limited some of, it's been an issue that has gone under the radar a little bit because of the offensive line, because of the change at quarterback, because of the issues with Derrick Henry, right? Like the offense has had issues across the board that have kind of masked some of the problems that they've had in the wide receiving core. Treylon could potentially help them open things up a little bit, not only give them a deep threat with Will Levis playing quarterback, who we know likes to air it out and throw it deep, but really forces DeAndre Hopkins to not have to play that role. DeAndre Hopkins can now do what he does best, get open 10 to 15 yards down the field, create space with his body, secure catches, and have excellent play strength at the point of contact. You maybe use a little bit less of Chris Moore, who has been fine for what he is and for what the Titans are paying him to be. But if Chris Moore is your second or third most productive wide receiver, you're probably lacking in the position group a little bit. So I am among those optimistic and excited to see Treylon Burks back on the field. I think Titans fans should be as well. And it has been all positives is the takeaway from the Titans coaching staff leading up to Sunday's game. I see a couple comments here, like in the Sox hat today, winter meetings coming to Nashville this weekend. So I'm hoping to go check those out. And Mike Vrabel, big fan of the brown White Sox hat as well. So yeah, he shouted it out as well. So glad to hear that the chat likes it too. Appreciate that. That's the deal with Treylon, and yeah, Pistol Ramsey's all over it. We need a deep threat. And yeah, the Titans could really use a player to spread this offense out a little bit more. That's not DeAndre Hopkins' game. Frankly, it's not Chris Moore's game. Chris Moore's probably got the best speed in the current receiving core. That's not really his game either. So Treylon could add a piece to this offense that they're very much lacking. Here's where we have another issue, and it's on the offensive line, because we know the problems that this offensive line has had this season. And I was kind of feeling optimistic as early as this morning that the Titans offensive line was going to be the same group for a second week in a row with Jalen Duncan, Peter Skoronski, Aaron Brewer, Daniel Brunskill, and Dylan Radins left to right. That might not be the case anymore. And I'm going to tell you why right after I remind everybody about my friends at Doughbird. I mentioned that you can go to Doughbird for absolutely any occasion, because you can go on date night. You can bring your family there. You can go to the bar and watch the game at Doughbird. And while you're grabbing a seat at the bar, stay a while and sip on some of their inventive craft cocktails made with daily fresh juices and homemade ingredients, and a menu of wines to pair with every bite. They have happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So 32 minutes here on this Friday before happy hour at Doughbird gets underway, with deals starting at $5, half price bottles of wine, and a bottle and bird special that features an entire bottle of wine, a whole rotisserie chicken, and 2 sides for $40 when you dine in. A lot of good drink deals over at Doughbird. So if you're looking for a spot to, hey, Washington, Oregon tonight, big game, big. If you need a spot to go watch that, go check out Doughbird, and you will be very pleased at the ambiance and the vibe at Doughbird. And hey, the food, that's a plus right there. Not too many bars that have a spot to go sit down and watch football have the food that Doughbird has. So go check them out. You will not be disappointed. And I'm going to give you a reminder again to like the show here. For all the Titans fans who are out there, who might not be able to join us live. They're not real ones like you guys. They're not hanging out at Titans at 2:29 on a Friday, listening to me talk about these Titans injuries. But hey, let's still like the show so that we can get some good distribution and make sure that they come back around and watch this as well. This offensive line problem that we have here is the fact that Daniel Brunskill did not practice today. He was a limited participant on Wednesday. He was a full participant on Thursday. And then to my surprise, no sign of him today. He is listed on the injury report with a knee injury. And so the right guard during today's practice, Calvin Throckmorton, the recently acquired offensive lineman from the Carolina Panthers, who has played some football for sure. And I think you could certainly do worse at the position, but new to this group, has not played with this group of Titans offensive linemen. Titans Fox says maybe he's just resting up. That would surprise me only because we haven't really seen Brunskill do that this year. Like, there are guys in the Titans roster who take Thursday off specifically. Thursday is the veteran rest day for guys who not injury related. DeAndre Hopkins does it a lot. Derrick Henry does it a lot. Danico Autry does it a lot. They just take a day. Daniel Brunskill has not been that guy all year. And if he was going to do it, it probably would have been Thursday. So I do think this is relatively injury related. He was not ruled out for the game. Mike Vrabel ruled zero players out. First time this year, Mike Vrabel has not ruled anybody out for the game on Sunday. That's a good sign, at least that he's questionable, and there is reason to believe he could play and tough it out. Daniel Brunskill's a tough guy, and he has proven that so far this season. But this is now on my radar where we could be getting our first dose of Calvin Throckmorton. And like I said, not that he's the worst option in the world, but I think that we need to see some continuity with this offensive line. I mean, Jalen Duncan got his first start last week. I think it was a relatively productive start for Jalen Duncan, and I was looking forward to seeing what this group could do. Duncan next to Skoronski for another week, but Dylan Radins and Daniel Brunskill on the right side to establish the run, to protect Will Levis. Like, so much of an offensive line working together and working together successfully is their chemistry that they have. Revolving door is just tough. So, I don't know. Daniel Brunskill, questionable. We will see. And then let's go to the man of the hour. The man of the hour, or I guess the man of the week, I guess the man of the next few months and of the season for Titans fans right now is rookie quarterback Will Levis, who everybody saw the video on Wednesday. The limp did not look good. And it was the first time that I've really been like, wait a minute, is Will Levis going to miss a football game? But I've got positive Will Levis news on the other end of reminding people to go check out Doberd. Once again, I mentioned the dine-in options for if you want to get a drink and go to happy hour, but takeout, if that's more your style, get the family on the fly bundle at Doberd. Feed the whole family. They're the go-to spot for to-go food in the neighborhood. They're in Green Hills, convenient parking, in and out, easy as can be. They share parking with the Shake Shack in Green Hills. Like, you're not walking anywhere. Super easy. Free parking too. Like, rare things in Nashville. A lot of the good restaurants in Nashville make you pay up to park, not Doberd. So go check them out in Green Hills. Highly recommend. Why not Levan at right guard? Ask Kenneth. Yeah, Corey Levan is more of a center, to be honest with you. Like, that's his that's his natural position. So he is active on game days, operating as the backup center. And I think that's where they feel most comfortable with him. He can play guard. We've seen him do it this year. I just don't think it's a strength of his necessarily. And his left guard reps earlier this season were not too hot. So I'm a Corey Levan guy as a backup center. As a guard, I think Throckmorton might be the better option. So that Denise also wants them to try Levan. But I mean, this was the plan a couple weeks ago that I explained to you guys on this show, was that the offensive line was going to be Duncan as the swing tackle, with Radins at left tackle, Hubbard at right tackle, Skoronski, Brewer, and Brunskill inside. And then you were going to have Throckmorton as your backup guard with Levan as your backup center. Now, this got thrown off when Chris Hubbard went down. And then they had to make the change of sending Dylan Radins to the right side, having Jalen Duncan step up. Kudos to the Titans coaching staff for continuing to bench Andre Dillard and not play Andre Dillard, he's been dealing with concussion stuff, I think, for a little bit now, but is finally back fully healthy. And they're still going with Jalen Duncan. But yeah, this is the change that you had to make. And so that's why Corey Levan is on this roster, is to step up and be the backup center or emergency guard if you have a situation like you had in Pittsburgh where it's just chaos across the board and everybody is banged up. Will Levis under center. Looks good. Like, finally looks healthy, I would say. Yesterday, I was a little bit concerned that he was limited in his ability to roll out a little bit and was shuffling around in the pocket fine, but like running still didn't look fully comfortable for him. I think it's pretty clear he has taken another step. I didn't really get to watch drills today just with the way the Friday practice schedule goes, but I did get to watch him warm up and run around on the field. And looked to be running without a huge hitch or a huge problem. So very positive sign. Like I mentioned on today's A to Z Sports Morning Show, the fact that Will Levis went from a Wednesday clear limp to a Thursday subtle discomfort gives you a good idea that day by day he's going to keep improving and should be good to go Thursday. So I do not have any reservations about Will Levis playing or Will Levis being able to be what we've seen in the past few weeks for the Titans on Sunday. The only spot that I would have an issue is if he has to take off and run, him taking a potential hit, and what that could do to maybe re-aggravate it. And that would be worst case scenario for the Titans, obviously, is if Will Levis comes up limping after a play on Sunday, and then you're either left with play Ryan Tannehill or play Will Levis at less than 100%. That seems like a nightmare. But right now, no reason to worry for Titans fans. QB1, all good to go. And I got to say, just for those of you curious, the vibes in the locker room are up. They are up. And I've been around this locker room each and every week of this season, and I have seen the level of tension, the level of discomfort and disappointment and frustration that has been building amongst these players. This locker room today, and really throughout the entire week, and Mike Vrabel today, in one of their better moods of the year. So the Titans are riding pretty high right now. I really like where they're at heading into their second straight home game, back-to-back home games at Nissan Stadium for the first time this season, a winnable game against the Indianapolis Colts. And if they come away with a W, what kind of conversation are we having then? What kind of conversation are we having for the Titans going into a Monday Night Football game against the Dolphins? A game they likely won't win, right? We have to understand that you're on the road in Miami against maybe the most explosive offense in football. But if you can get back to 5-7 and win against the divisional opponent, I think, things are starting to get interesting down the stretch here. So I like where the Titans are at, and looking forward to that translating into good performances on the field. That's all I got for you guys today. I wish I had some more juice. I wish I had the type of juice that I had for you on Monday, but things have been a little bit mellow around here heading into a divisional week. And, maybe we'll have some more juice to go recap on Monday afternoon. I will be at Nissan Stadium on Sunday to cover the game, and we'll have some post-game coverage of the game as well. And then Buck Rising he should be going live here in a little bit, a 615 session. So make sure you tune into that and keep it locked on A to Z Sports for all of your Titans coverage. Titans at 2 is back next week, Monday afternoon at 2:00, recapping Mike Vrabel's press conference. So, put that down on your schedule. Make sure you join me. But till then, tighten up. Appreciate you guys as always.